day, lords and ladies of the internet. I'm your host, the Parafox Archangel, the English gentleman of the internet, and I welcome you back to the Call of Cthulhu, where we're here with Mr. Pierce.
No. I want to know what Bradley and Dr. Colden have to say about all this.
Fair enough. Let's go talk to them then. I just want to explore things a bit first.
You're awake, Mr. Pierce.
Indeed.
How do you feel?
Terrible.
Did I sleep long?
The day is only starting. It's fine.
Hello, Bradley. How are you alive? Answer me
How's
that.
our fugitive? Dr. Fuller hasn't reported your disappearance to the force, but that'll come soon.
Really
Bradley?
now?
Who else would it be?
Mr. Pierce, are you all right? You look like you saw a ghost.
There are things I can't explain.
Yeah.
Tell us. What happened?
I need occultism at professional. At professional? Really? What they had me endure. Talk to Bradley, talk to Colin. Talk to Bradley. Medical, you should be dead. You did see Charles was alive.
What I'm sure of now is that the Hawkins case isn't just an accident.
Yeah.
And what brings you to that conclusion?
The fact that Charles Hawkins survived the fire.
Yeah.
I don't understand. Mr. Hawkins was buried.
That's what he would have you believe.
I
Yep.
have a hard time believing you.
You saw
were
it!
there, Bradley. You even opened fire on him.
I'd remember that.
Yeah,
Why would
you
he
would.
fake his own death? Do you think he covered up his wife's murder?
That's possible.
It seems hard to swallow. Don't you have anything more concrete, Pierce?
I would if I had any damn scales. Your memory seems to be failing you.
Bradley, what do you remember?
I don't understand your question.
The night we went into the Hawkins mansion. You don't seem to remember the tunnels and what occurred there.
No memory of going down any tunnel. No, we were in the manor, then,
Then what?
Then what?
The rest is quite blurry. I don't recall how I came back home.
Precisely.
And then?
I went to visit you at the hospital, and called on Marie's help to get you released.
And you don't remember the events of the tunnel?
No.
I don't. Let's talk about something else.
I don't trust you, Bradley. I don't trust you. Hold to test
I heard
psychology.
you talking earlier.
Why am I not surprised?
I get the impression you two don't get along.
Yeah.
Intrusive and not very clever. Anyway, let's get back to the business at hand.
I wish I could just succeed one of these goddamn checks. You know, talk to Colin. Sarah Hawkins was committed.
I found a file bearing
Yeah.
Sarah Hawkins' name in the Institute's basement.
It makes sense. A powerful family like the Hawkins had the means to hide such a disgrace.
But everyone knows the Fullers have been taking care of the Hawkins for at least a generation. And
Right.
all were aware of Mrs. Hawkins' fragility.
Perhaps, but no one would allow a psychiatric internment.
From what I read in the file, Fuller used her as a subject of his experiments.
Right.
Francis Sanders and Sarah Hawkins, subjects of Dr. Fuller. Why those two?
Good question. Good question. I saw dead bodies.
Dr. Fuller seems to be leaving a trail of corpses.
Yeah.
Not to mention those strange machines, chains, and tools of all kind.
Yes, I've been telling you that Fuller uses his patients as guinea pigs.
What I saw was more akin to torture than medicine.
Mm-hmm.
Do you even hear what you're saying? Dr. Fuller is highly respected.
Really?
It's
Why?
the truth, Ethan, and I'll prove it to you. I'm listening, Mr. Pierce.
Did Fuller find Riverside?
Given the energy he pours into Riverside, I presume it was Fuller's creation.
His father's, to be correct. He was a surgeon on board the Scylla. He founded
It
the
all
hospital
reverts
in
back to the
1904
Scylla.
with funds from the Hawkins family before he died and his son Thomas Fuller took over.
Two families inextricably linked.
Mm-hmm.
Most island families are that way. Captain Fitzroy's father was also a seaman aboard the Scylla.
Powerful families dominating everything.
Yes, and as you could tell, Dr. Fuller is like some crazed emperor.
He wouldn't be happy if he knew we were snooping around.
I know
No.
the risks. I don't fear him. Do you wish to know anything
I
else?
fear Bradley. What else is there? I might be onto a lead. You know what? Sure.
I met a Francis Sanders. Do you know him?
Of course. He's a patient. Or was. I haven't seen him since Dr. Fuller had him transferred to the basement.
And?
He knew Sarah Hawkins. And that's what killed him.
Explain.
What? How did he die?
I'm not sure I can explain it.
Tell me how Mr. Sanders died.
A sort of crisis. He called him the Shambler.
I didn't see what, but something was there with us.
Yep.
What do you speak?
I don't
Sanders
know.
said it was Sarah Hawkins' visitor. He spoke of it like a living being.
Sarah Hawkins? Have I missed something here? This makes no sense. I don't see how it can help crack the Hawkins case.
You really think she's involved? How could she have murdered Mr. Sanders?
She didn't.
Francis Sanders mentioned Mrs. Hawkins just before dying. It's no coincidence.
We need to
You
go
know,
see our
Francis
room again.
Sanders was a well-known art collector. I guess you can still pay a visit to his wife, Irene Sanders.
An art collector, you say? That's probably how they met.
If you plan on having dinner at the Sanders household, please spare the widow the tale of her late husband's suffering.
I don't agree. She deserves the truth.
I
But
would
that
agree.
truth may be biased. We don't know the bottom of it.
Let's stay prudent. Better to confront the truth. No. Look, I don't trust Bradley in the slightest, but I agree with him at this point.
He's right. We can't ignore the truth.
But it could drive her mad.
This
Better
will affect your
madness than
destiny.
Ignorance. Very well. I'll go to see Francis's widow. Perhaps I'll find a link between her husband's death and Sarah Hawkins.
Don't end up in the hospital this time.
I'll do my best.
Fair enough, then. Well,
Let us go now and learn the truth about what's happening on this island.
Cthulhu is happening.
The other night's events are still confused in my head.
You were stabbed through the gut, gutted, and you are somehow still alive. Which leads me to the conclusion that you are some unholy abomination or living corpse or something in between. And that's why I can't trust you in any shape or form. Sanders' residence. Pierce, Colden, and Bradley decided to team up to solve the Sarah Hawkins case. They have a new trail to follow. Francis Sanders, an art collector and a friend of the painter, who died right in front of Pierce. The detective goes to his house in order to speak to the widow about the Shambler that the unfortunate man mentioned before he died. Well. Hello.
What can I do for you, sir?
Mrs. Sanders, I'm a private detective. We must talk about your husband and his ties to Sarah Hawkins. Can I come in?
You
All
may.
right. You're very
However,
classy
before
of
we
a
go any
woman.
further, please know that my husband died yesterday.
That is precisely what brings me here.
Yep.
Well, well, look who's here.
Hello, Cat. It's good to see you.
You know each other.
Our paths crossed, briefly. The brave detective has a talent for sticking his nose into my business.
I have not
I
had
bump
any...
into her every time I'm investigating someone's death.
It's a small island, detective. My island. It's better that it's you bumping into me.
You're investigating Francis' death. Why? Who hired you?
I'm not
I spoke to Francis before he died. His story suggests a link to a case I'm working on.
Well, since this business has got nothing to do with me, I'll be in your husband's office, Irene. We'll carry on later.
Very well, Miss Baker.
Well, Cat.
This way, Mr. Pierce. And do make yourself comfortable. It would seem that you have much to tell me.
Or rather ask you, but still the same. Still the same.
May I inquire as to when you had the opportunity to talk to my husband?
Yesterday. I met him at the hospital. He spoke to me about Sarah Hawkins.
Oh, of course he spoke to you about her. That's all he talked about. Sarah Hawkins and her paintings.
Yep. What about
Please
them?
forgive my tone. The fact is that I have not been allowed to see him since he was interned.
There's
you,
a reason
on the
for
other
that.
hand, a perfect stranger, were able to see him and even talk with him the day he died. How was he? Were you present when he had this attack? What happened?
I was no longer there when it happened. You're taking it quite well. You must not feel guilty.
What happened to your husband is terrible,
Yeah.
Mrs. Sanders. But from what I saw, it was inevitable. The man I met yesterday had lost his reason. He suffers no longer, if you would allow me such a platitude.
Of course.
This will affect your destiny.
Thank you for your kind words. Nobody in that hospital would have deigned to speak them to me. However, it will require more than that to soothe my mind.
Yeah, that's
I need
understandable.
To understand. How could this happen? In a reputed institute? And right before your eyes? Did you not do anything to help him?
There was nothing I could do. It wasn't me who sent him there. Yes, that's the perfect thing to say after I just told her, don't feel guilty. I share your grief, but I had nothing to do with it. The true culprit is Fuller. What's more likely to succeed? My 20% in eloquence, or that? And I'm not risking the 20%, because my ability to make skill checks in this game have clearly proven otherwise. Hold to test eloquence. No, I'm not testing.
So ask Fuller, he's the eminent doctor. But I would caution you, you'll find his treatments more terrifying than the illnesses he sets out to cure.
That churl no longer takes the trouble to receive me. He sends his secretary to tell me that I cannot see Francis. Me. His own widow. He must think that I am a terrible wife for having abandoned him in such a way. But I only wanted what was best for him.
I'm not here to condemn you, Mrs. Sanders.
Precisely.
Oh, I'm tired, Mr. Pierce. I would be grateful if you could tell me what you expect of me, and then leave.
Understandable. Did he speak to you of a Shambler?
Did your husband talk to you about Sarah Hawkins' visitor? A Shambler, to use his precise terms.
Well, you can imagine that's all he talked about. It's exhibited at the center of the gallery. No better place for the painting that endowed him with the privilege of such a shameful and miserable end to his life.
Hold on.
It's a painting.
The Shambler is a painting by Sarah Hawkins.
Who else to paint such horrors? Take a look for yourself, if you feel so inclined.
I am
It is my
inclined.
only lead at this stage. I suppose I have nothing to lose.
This ought to be good.
Then you have paid no heed. For my part, I refuse to set foot in that gallery again. But if you're so eager to see it, I would urge you to make the most of your visit. Because I count on ridding myself of that thing as soon as I can.
Thank you,
Fair.
Mrs. Sanders. I won't be long.
Now I can move around. Can I have some wine? Can I have some wine, madam? Oh, it's 30%. Still, not good enough. Oh, I got a lot of character points. The thing is, I am so close to professional with medicine. Maybe not occultism, but I am with medicine. And improve the psychology. I really want the psychology, please. Oh, what's this?
Did she really care for him after all?
Dear madam, I acknowledge the receipt of the letter in which you demand the body of your deceased husband. I am sorry to inform you that I cannot agree to return his body to you. At the moment of his internment, you signed a discharge, allowing me to dispose of his body as I see fit. I extend my deepest condolences to you. Thomas Fuller. Huh.
The day the Shambler came into the Sanders' lives.
A photograph of Sanders. They must be close. What was that achievement I just got? Inspect 50 items. Well, let's reconstruct the environment then, I guess. What's the piano got to do with it?
House of Artists.
Yes. Okay, is it just this living room? So first we have this cup here.
Francis Sanders and Sarah
That failed again!
Close. Friends, even?
Really? That failed? It's a 50... Ah! What about this?
Sanders' accession register. He wrote beside the Shambler. Finally. What did Sarah Hawkins fear so much that she didn't want to sell the painting?
That is a good question.
He finally won. Was Sanders aware of his imminent doom?
That seems unlikely. Alright. Let's succeed one of these checks, please.
She didn't want Sanders to have the painting. She must have felt devastated.
That succeeded one, so good enough.
She despises Sarah Hawkins, but it's the painting she truly hates. Why?
That is the great question now, isn't it? Can we succeed the occultism check? Ah!
The Shambler. I need to see it.
Well, that's a way to forcefully push you out of your mind. Ah, more medicine. Nice. I must have looked so weird to you then, madam, with the way I just, you know, pushed around everything. And just was doing random things then. Can't enter there. Alright. Gotta love all the artwork around here. What's this?
Let's see what this cylinder has to say once it's inserted in a phonograph.
Ooh. An audio recording of Francis Sanders left for his wife, Irene. What is this?
Irene, I made a mistake. I fear that it might be too late for me. Nobody should enter.
Okay.
Except to burn everything. I never had the courage. Pay somebody to do it.
Alright.
Inside my head, I see him. Behind my eyelids. Each time I shut my eyes.
Cthulhu? Who?
I can't take any more.
Alright.
I can't hold him back. Forgive me.
That accursed gallery. Those accursed paintings. That accursed Sarah.
So it's Sarah you hate for basically taking your husband away. Isn't it? Are we going to find more cylinders then, from the looks of it? So all I need to do... That's an interesting looking painting. I love the skulls. Is find it. That just looks like a background piece. Hello, cat. Nice to see you. What's this? Distortion of atomical question. It is the work of a student in book form. Although the observations are relevant, they lack the expertise of an experienced physician. However, the questions asked allow us to imagine new ways of exploring human anatomy. I forgot to read the other book, didn't I? Crap.
I could use one of those.
I found these sleeping pills in Sanders' house. Were they prescribed to Francis, or Irene? Irene.
A strange Amerindian pendant.
An ancient amulet, probably Amaranian. I wonder what its purpose could be. Occultism.
Another volume of the Reverend's wife's diary.
Where was Volume 1? This volume spends some time on Reverend Widwick's community. His wife expresses her worries about the strange dreams that the Reverend's congregation have been having since their arrival on the island. Some members of the community, her husband included, began to speak of of their vision as a messenger sent by God. She is scared that they will suffer the same fate as the lost tribe.
Strange. For months, Sarah Hawkins refused to part with her painting, to finally give it away for nothing.
Dear Francis, I beg you to give up all hope of ever owning this accursed painting. If our friendship has any meaning for you, please spare me the weight of guilt. I cannot be the architect of your fall. I beg you, my dear friend, forget the Shambler. What's this? The Whale and the Cod. The Whale and the Cod, A Brief History of Darkwater, by Irene Greenmouth. It is focused on the past glory of the island. I feel if I try to look at that book before I talk to her. Ooh, strength. No thanks.
That's twice you've stepped on my toes, Detective. Try not to make a habit of it.
Who the hell are you?
I've got a lot of bad habits.
Some can be more fatal than others. What have you come looking for in this gallery?
The Shambler. I've got to verify the painting for a buyer. Another painting by Sarah Hawkins.
Another painting by Sarah Hawkins.
I can't eloquence.
One connected to the horrors I've discovered on this island.
What a surprise. I'm listening.
And you? What are you doing here?
And you? What brings you to the Sanders home?
I'm here on business. Irene asked me to liquidate all these paintings. She doesn't intend to hang around here for long.
Why you?
Believe it or not, there aren't many collectors on Darkwater.
Yeah, that's understandable.
It needs someone with a network.
Yeah.
And a means of transport to the mainland. A choice that comes down to Fitzroy and me. And I'm far more pleasant, wouldn't you say?
Maybe to look at, but personality-wise?
Not now, sweetheart. I'd like to read this without some snoop looking over my shoulder.
Too bad. I am such a snoop. What's this? Would you read the book? What is this? Wait. Would you read the book? What is the book? This will affect your destiny beyond reality. Except to read an unholy book. Oh, well, fuck. It is a kind of encyclopedia of monstrous and unknown creatures. I'm beginning to believe that they exist. Hello, Trauma, my next trauma. It's good to see you. My occultism is really improving. That worked. Key to the Sanders Gallery. Well, that makes things easier. Alright. So this is where his thing is it?
These artifacts date from pre-Columbian times.
And they're all tentacle-based. Why are we not surprised? That looks peculiar. I'm not going to question the Skull Sphinx. You know, I keep seeing a bunch of these... Yeah. These things I can hide in. Are we going to have another sneak segment? Oh, that there is the Shambler.
The public entrance to the gallery.
There's a public entrance?
The man transformed an entire wing of his manor into an art gallery.
I mean, if you can, you should. Really, right? What's this? Oh, my lantern. Well, I've kind of been told to burn the place down, so... I wonder if I should. You liked your abstract art, didn't you? More oil. Why is there so much oil?
Why was he so interested in old weapons?
That is a very good question. What is that meant to be? Why is he so interested in creepy demonic things, I think is a better question. I'm kind of avoiding directly looking at the Shambler. I admit. What is this?
Is this dagger part of Sanders' collection, or was he seeking to acquire it?
Far from possessing the talents of Sarah Hawkins, Sanders drew a dagger with the tortured form down to the smallest detail. The guard carries a strange Aristotic symbol, a reoccurring feature of his correspondence with Sarah Hawkins. Can we find it?
These artifacts date from pre-Columbian times.
Yeah, here it is.
Why was he so interested in old weapons?
That looks like the weapon in the drawing. And it looks like he has so little relevance whatsoever. So... Fine, let's just bloody go. Look at this bloody picture. Jesus Christ. Alright, what is this? Well... What the Christ is that?
What the hell was that?
Don't you mean... Is that... And I don't think we want to know. I'm just maxing out spot hidden at this point.
I can't even touch it.
I get the feeling... that... I need...
Damn. Did it hear that?
Of course it heard that! What did you think? Oh, fuck! It can do that! Right, well... Run! Smash!
This dagger looks different.
Run, 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 run. Why is this dagger so special? What the Christ do I do with it? That is the entire question. How am I alive? Oh. Wait a moment. There we go! Die, you annoying beast!
with you.
You know, that's a...
You sure you won't be needing that hand? You're losing it, Detective. At this rate, you're right. The bottle will get you before I do.
You didn't see anything.
I saw you within an inch of putting a dagger through your forearm. Did I miss something more interesting?
Yes! Fuck off! The painting is definitely cursed!
I was attacked by a creature. I pushed it back, I think.
I think so too.
Do you? Do you really? You must have noticed the state of our mind. You knew about the monster?
You knew. You knew about the beast.
What are you talking about? Think yourself lucky that I saved your hand, even if it was to save my goods.
You mean me?
Don't flatter yourself, sweetheart. I'm talking about the contents of this gallery. And by the way, where do you think you're going with that dagger?
It saved my life. It's an extraordinary dagger.
You should talk to Algernon Drake. He's an antique dealer here on Darkwater. He'll tell you all about it. From what I saw in the ledgers, it was him who sold it to Sanders.
Alright. And you give me this information free of charge? That's a good point.
It's not your style to give me free information like that.
Take it as payment for being my canary. A simple trade-off. Now go see your antique seller.
Yeah.
I still got things to settle with Irene.
I suppose that does count me as a canary. Going after that painting. Yeah. The Nameless Bookstore. The Shambler turned out to be much more than an artwork painted by Sarah Hawkins, as a huge creature came out of the painting to attack Pierce. After a hard fight, the detective managed to send it back into the painting. He later discovered that the dagger he used to repel the creature had been sold to Sanders by a man named Algernon Drake, the owner of the Nameless Bookstore. Pierce decides to pay the library a visit. Well, that's a good sign. Did someone break in? Is the man still alive? It's the important question. So, yeah, I figured that would hurt. I think this is my sanity and I need a drink.
Where's the bookseller?
I think this is why I was told in the comments to drink.
Freud's The Interpretation of Dreams. It's the work that laid the foundations of psychoanalysis at the beginning of this century.
Fair. This practical work, written by Sigmund Freud for the psychologist, describes the techniques of analytical interpretation of dreams. The analyst must follow several rules, especially that of free association, a principle announced by Freud at the end of the 19th century. It treats dreams as a way of revealing buried desires. I cannot believe that this theory is applicable to my nightmares. Aren't I now a professional? Yeah. I'm a professional at medicine.
Another volume of the Reverend's wife's diary.
Great. The pastor declared himself to be the prophet. He renounced God and worshipped a strange pagan entity with a monstrous appearance. His wife tried to reason with her husband, but in vain. He was convinced that he must listen to his voice in his head, because it holds the truth. What else we got around here? The History of Darkwater, Volume 2. A Puritan colony led by Reverend John Lickwood settled on the island during the 17th century. Is that a typo? They named the island Darkwater because of the dark shades of the sea. They believed it was because of the particular color of the rocks surrounding the island. They erected the first buildings, among which were the Hawkins Manor, the church, and the cemetery. The rare documents and handwritten notes they left spoke of nightmares and deviant behaviors. They disappeared at the beginning of the 18th century. Huh. Beverian Medicine, Tome 3. Even a few years back, it was possible for a single practitioner to know all the medical knowledge of his time. This book, which concludes this series, shows that this is now virtually impossible. About 10 renowned doctors took part in putting together this collection. What is this? Would you read the book? Read the bloody tome of demonology!
What does this strange book contain? This book contains unholy knowledge.
This collection catalogues and classifies creatures that I had never heard of. Divinities from the stars, creatures capable of traveling from one dimension to another. It presents itself as the reference book of the bestiality of... Bestiality? What? The bestiary of the myth, without giving details on the mythology to which it refers. Its pages are covered with phantasmagoric illustrations. Well, I'm now a professional in occultism, and that one didn't hurt me, in terms of my sanity, so... Handbook of Anatomy and Dissection, Book 2. A precise and illustrated with which detail is the first knowledge. This book focuses more on healing surgeries specific to malformations and motor disorders. Man, there are so many skill books in this goddamn place, aren't there? Oh, I missed one!
The Book of Zion is the foundational work behind Helena Blavatsky's Theosophical movement. Its followers place truth on the same footing as a religion.
These Tibetan writings are at the origin of the historic movement founded by Helena Blavatsky at the end of the 19th century. The creator of philosophy... whatever... That's not philosophy. Theosophy, which would have drawn extensively on the texts of this work, but no one has ever been able to consult them. I thought they didn't exist. This book, discovered in the nameless bookstore on Darkwater, could be as much a fake as irrefutable proof of Blavatsky's serenity. You really enjoy giving me these, whatchamacallit, occultism boosts right now, and I am very appreciative of it, because I love my occultism skill. Give me some alcohol. I probably missed the chance to have some alcohol back at the Hawkins Manor, didn't I? Spot hidden. Alright. Well, at the very least, there's something in there. So, what's this? Handbook of Anatomy and Dissection, Book 2. The least that can be said about this book is that the title is well conceived. The illustrations of human anatomy and dissection methods presented are illustrated in great detail. You have to have a strong heart or a detachment to... or the detachment proper to doctors to consult its pages. There we go.
A strange amulet. I have a feeling I'd better not touch it.
You picked it up! A strange amulet. The pendant is the shape of a large dog. I don't know what it represents. I might find out more by searching the bookstore. Right. That's a bunch of dead rats and cockroaches. Alright then, so... considering I found that dog, is there anything hidden around here I might know about?
What happened here?
Well, I guess we're gonna try and find out. So nothing in this room I can look at beforehand? The History of Darkwater, Volume 4. In the 19th century, as the American whaling industry reached its peak in the rest of the world, whales gradually disappeared from the waters surrounding Darkwater. This phenomenon appears even more mysterious because, up until then, the region was a favored refuge for them. In 1847, after months of pursuit, the Scylla returns to port with a gigantic creature on its board. Its crew asserts that the sea monster had eaten all the disappeared whales. After a night of ferocious combat, the survivors managed to drag the beast onto the whaling ship.
Let's start over. Where did they break in from?
Well, obviously right here.
Blood. Seems like amateur work.
Yep. Meaning... what would have happened from there? We've gone into there. Something would have been known here. Ooh.
No sign of struggle. If the burglar smashed this jar, it wasn't intentionally. Was he hurt then?
That's interesting. I can finally succeed medicine checks. What's this?
To whom does this footprint belong?
That is indeed the question, and I have no skills to upgrade, do I? Nope, because I've put everything into spot hidden, and I will continue to do so. So, the work of an amateur who is clearly hurt. Are we sure it's not Francis himself? Can I go in here? I can. Let's look at the
What
rats.
killed all these animals?
That's the good question.
What sort of thief leaves his tools at the crime scene? What happened that made the burglar flee before finishing his work?
Probably all the dead stuff.
What the... Charles Hawkins?
I love how I just failed the occultism roll then, but... What am I seeing?
What sort of power did Sarah Hawkins' painting possess?
That is a good question. What kind of book is this? Clearly
Sarah
not a good one.
Hawkins helped hide something in this safe.
Right. So... why is everything still distorted? What am I missing now? I don't have access to light, so... I really don't like how glitchy this all looks. It just looks so... weird. That's no other way to put it. It's weird. Oh, hello there.
Drake put in a great deal of effort to hide whatever is in here. Everything
Indeed.
is linked to the Sarah Hawkins case.
Alright. So... what do we have around here, then?
What link did he find between Charles Hawkins and an old amulet?
This key that bears the Elder Sign is the only one able to protect your psyche. It is in the form of a serenical medallion, hanging at the end of a heavy chain. Hundreds of years ago, the star and the branch, whose purpose it is to push back the forces of the Great Old Ones, were engraved at its center. Everything points to it being Charles Hawkins that tore it from its last owner, an Egyptian antique dealer. In press cuttings that mention this misdemeanor, the date of the robbery coincides with the last of the Hawkins trips to Cairo. It remains to be seen whether he knows of the true purpose of the artifact. Try to find it. Right.
Is everyone on this island taking sleeping pills?
Probably. Probably. Considering the nightmares and all that crap for everyone. What's
Drake
this?
left instructions on how to find the combination of his safe.
A page seems to be hidden here. It is possible to read. If someone finds these memoirs, there will be no doubt that I am in serious trouble. My last and only hope is that my body and bones are still in this plane of reality, in order that they be recovered and burned. The funeral urn must be given to my dear mother, if she is still of this world. The following message is of a capital importance. Whoever reads these lines and demonstrates antiquity as sharp as mine can hope to gain access to my most precious possession. It lies within my safe, and the clues to the combination are to be found in 3 cylinders, each hidden where life and study combine in the Greek world. The cylinder is numbered. Even if, as the celebrated author says, order is the pleasure of reason, but disorder is the delight of the imagination. Indeed, despite my preference for organized chaos, I must admit that reason usually prevails in the end. If, by chance, a person, or should I say genius, was to match my intellect and find the combination of the safe, I would ask that they deliver its contents into the safekeeping of my friend and colleague, Professor Antamage of Historic University. The content of this safe is not only a vast digest of knowledge, but also a weapon that is far too dangerous for it to fall into the wrong hands. I hope that you are able to appreciate the danger that this represents, and that you will act accordingly. In any event, I will neither be there to guide you, nor to suffer from your actions. Or you actions. Right. So, from where Greek stuff... Oh, for fuck's sake. Do I have to look at every book now? Alright, what's this book?
Arkham editions. Never heard of him.
Arkham and Theology, Volume 3, Things That Should Not Be. A collection of essays on American folklore and urban legends written by Albert Wilmarth, the university professor at Malkuth University. Miskatonic University, for all of those who that complain at me pronouncing these things wrong. This volume is part of the Anthology, a luxurious collection of treatises and works into the supernatural.
How many volumes are there in this collection?
At least 9, apparently. A collection of poems by Edward Pickman Derby, also known as the Nightmare Lyrics. This collection of poems was centrally received when first published in 1908. Derby was only 18 years old. This volume is a collection of the Anthropology.
Another volume by Arkham Editions.
The Key of Solomon, a book of spells supposedly written by the legendary King Solomon. It contains various rituals and invocation and rituals of curse. Reedition by Claudia D. Waltz, based on L.W. de Lawrence's original. Opera in 8 acts by Benventure Chete Brodeghera, an infamous lyrical work published in Italy in 1768. It is said that the opera was performed only once, resulting in an audience riot that left several dead and missing. Huh. A collection of long-term astrological predictions written in verse, written by Nostradamus, translated by E. Limon and Theopus Widebridge.
Another volume by Arkham Editions.
An ancient Friscarian manuscript translated by William R. Sandbach. The texts claim that in the distant past, Europe and other continents were controlled by mothers of this people, and moreover that our alphabet is derived from the Frisian language. Things that should not be. Oh, I read that one. What's the top one?
How many volumes are there in this collection?
Written by Hermes Transmegrius, translated and edited by Nathaniel M. Corporius. This collection of texts on different beliefs was written by the legendary philosopher. It includes a translation of the Emerald Tablet, a popular text among 16th century alchemists.
Another volume by Arkham Editions.
A book of historic philosophy and a key text in Madame Blavatsky's philosophical movement. Wait a moment. That...
Arkham Editions.
9.
How many volumes are there in this
4.
collection? Another volume by Arkham
8.
Editions. Arkham Editions.
6.
How many volumes are there in
7.
This
So 987 6. 9876 4.
Another volume by Arkham
2.
Editions. Arkham Editions.
1.
How many volumes?
3. So that means 5. That's combination. One of the combinations. 5. Hello, chessboard.
Things are not looking good.
Something about you is the key to the puzzle. Hello?
A kind of chalice.
This goblet seems to be very ancient. It seems to be made of gold, decorated with real precious stones. Do rubies and sapphires make up a special motif? 5 rubies.
Things are not looking good.
So... First up, where's the king? There's only a queen for the whites, not a king. Okay, what's this? Hello?
Cylinders that Drake tried to hide. I should perhaps listen to them.
I would, if I had anything to listen to them with. Or do I? Oh, here we go. I have 3 cylinders. Okay, Drake cylinder number 1.
And these red rocks, like precious stones, lie fixed, set in divine gold.
Okay.
To be the guardian of the Grail does not protect me from its attractions, Henry. And I do confess it. I am willing to pay to know its secrets.
Yeah. Alright.
I finally understood that we were only pieces on the chessboard of the gods.
Right.
Let those of us who are still standing protect our White Queen from their dark soldiers. I see our number dwindling, and my will strengthens as my apprehension grows. We shall refuse to be the playthings of destiny.
Okay.
Dear friend, I thank you again for the anthology of the works of Arkham editions that you sent me.
Right.
Volume 9, Azathoth and Other Horrors, seemed particularly relevant to my research. I never tire of browsing through them.
Right. So that's telling us the clues about what we're doing with. In other words, that is number 1, this is number 2, and the other's number 3. So, this has 5 rubies on it, I already counted. This has 3 white pieces of chess. Technically there's 6 pieces, but there's 3 on the board, which kind of shows what we need to do. Is that a bishop?
The Queen has little protection. The Queen has little protection.
Yeah, little protection. Sure. Alright. So... hold on. The first number is 5. Second number 3. Next number 5, unless it's the total number of things available. Right? No? Then are you a... wait, why are you a 3? Then are you a 6?
I finally understood that we were only pieces on the chessboard of the gods.
Yeah.
Let those of us who are still standing protect our White Queen from their dark soldiers. I see our number dwindling.
Yeah?
And my will strengthens as my apprehension grows. We shall refuse to be the playthings of destiny.
So...
the Queen has little protection.
that doesn't answer the question. There are 5 rubies. There are 3 pieces of chess. You have 8 books. Oh, well... okay, apparently the number 9 is the how many there are in the collection, I guess. Alright. I just didn't think it was that. I thought it was how many you had, or which one was missing. Do you want to read that? After everything you've experienced thus far? My point exactly. My point exactly. Close the book. Riverside Institute. In the nameless bookstore, Pierce traced the trail of an attempted burglary. He discovered that Charles Hawkins was behind the attempt. Pierce opened the bookseller's safe to find what the latter and Sarah Hawkins had hidden there. A book covered in human skin lied inside. Is it the Necronomicon? Irresistibly attracted the detective. When he opened it, his mind was projected into another body. Oh! Well, that's a thing.
Dr. Colden, this man's condition is deteriorating.
What says Dr. Fuller? It's his patient, after all.
He's busy with Captain Fitzroy. He specifically asked us not to bother him when that's the case.
Oh, of course. I'll see what I can do. Mr. Blake, can you hear me? I'm Dr. Colden. We'll take care of you.
There's nothing we can do. I tried talking to him. He's catatonic.
Wait. Regarding the patient...
What can you tell me about him?
He was highly agitated an hour ago. We were about to tie him down when he fell asleep. 10 minutes ago, he curled up into a fetal position. I thought he was waking up, but no.
Huh. I must see his medical... Tell me about his symptoms.
What are his symptoms?
His temperature has been going down. his skin losing its color, his body rigid. I closed his eyes myself. They were glassing over. I didn't want them to dry out, and I couldn't bear to look at the expression on his face.
You did well. Don't worry. Let's stay professional, if you will.
Can I see his medical file?
Show me his file.
That's not possible.
Why not?
Don't tell me Dr. Fuller has taken this file as well. We need it.
That's why I called you. This man's ailment has been hidden from us.
Come on now. What was he treated for?
An intoxication, I was told. After inhaling chemicals.
Right. Okay.
I don't recognize him. Did he just arrive on the island?
He said he worked on the docks, but not with Captain Fitzroy. I think he works for Ms. Baker.
Who?
You know, the woman at the head of their gang. They call her Cat.
Oh, I see.
Do you have other questions?
That'll do for the time being.
Any idea what this man might be undergoing?
Examine the patient.
Very well. I'll examine him.
Well, I think this is a good place to end today's episode, everyone. So, yeah, it looks like... What can I say, everyone, other than this is getting really freaky and weird? Yeah. So, everyone, until the next time, it looks like... You know, I always mess up these outros, don't I? So, everyone, until the next time, I've been your host, the Parafox Archangel, the English gentleman of the internet, and I hope to see you all again next time. But I'm afraid that, until then, it is time for me to bid thee all farewell, good day, and finally, good night.